Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the headlight bulb on a Hyundai Accent 2001. I'll put a link to the bulb that I used from Amazon in the video description too. First thing we're going to have to do is to actually remove the headlight lens from the car. Not a big job, but it's actually the easiest way to get the bulb in and out of the headlight assembly. Here are the tools I used to do this job. I used a black marker, a 4-inch number 2 Phillips screwdriver, a ratchet with a 10 millimeter socket. This is a 1/4 inch ratchet with a 10 millimeter socket. Now if you don't have that, a normal 10 millimeter wrench will do. One with a box end and an open end will work just fine, though it'll be a little more tedious. And nice to have is a little bit of dielectric bulb grease to actually lubricate the connections when you're putting plugging the lamps back into the actual assembly. Now the dielectric grease is an optional component. I like to use it, but you don't need to use it. But I'll put a link to the dielectric grease in the video description. I'm going to assume you know how to open or how to release and open your hood on the Hyundai Accent 2001. If you don't, I've actually made a video on how to do that. I'll put a link to it probably on the bottom of here, and you can go watch that video. But otherwise, I'm assuming you know how to open your release and open your hood. Now, after you've done that, we're looking at the driver's corner of the car, and you'll see that the battery is right here. First thing I'm going to do is remove the battery terminal, negative battery terminal from the battery. Reason for doing that is that it basically disables all electrical work or all the electrics in the car, and therefore making it a safer job. So I'd suggest you do that. Now understand that once you remove the negative terminal, you're going to have to probably reset the clock on your car. Other than that, that's the only downside to doing it. So take your 10 millimeter and loosen up the actual lug here. You see that mine's loose already, but just go counterclockwise on the nut and then lift it up. Well, not quite enough there. There we go. And then basically lift it up. Let me zoom that in so you can see it better. There it is. Basically, you're going to loosen this nut or bolt, this nut on this bolt, and then basically wiggle out the connection like so, and then put it away. Just out of the way so that it doesn't make contact with the terminal or any other part here in the battery. It's the only place you got to worry about. So just do that. And next step, we're going to get to the headlights and removing the actual headlight assemblies themselves. Prior to taking the lamp assembly off, you want to, you may want to mark it. I used a black marker and I put a black line around the inside, the inside bolt here around the entire bracket. On the body here with my black marker, and basically what I'm doing that for is to make sure that I get it aligned right when I put it back on. So as you can see here, black mark all the way around on the bolt near the radiator, and I also did the same thing on the top bolt, and I'll show you that next. So here's the top bolt, and you see that around the bracket I put a nice black mark of ink with my black marker. So I suggest you do that because that basically makes sure that you put it back exactly where you took it off from, and then you don't have any problems with the aiming on the headlights being off. All right, so we got the battery terminal off. Next thing we need to do is actually remove the fasteners and bolts that hold the actual lamp on. We're looking at the driver's side lamp right now, and you'll see that there's one bolt down here, which is just inside the hood compartment right there. One bolt there. There's a fastener here, this plastic fastener. You're going to use your Phillips screwdriver on that, number 2. And there's another bolt up here, and they're both the 10 millimeters. So I'm just going to start with the fastener first, and it should just unscrew quite easily. So counterclockwise on it, like that. And once you get to the top, just pull it off. And careful not to drop it, like I almost just did there, because you don't want to go hunting for it inside your engine compartment. So there's a fastener. And next we're just going to take off the other 2 bolts. This one here is a little tight, but you can get in there with the ratchet, no problem. So we'll get in there and loosen it up. Now if yours are rusty like mine were, corroded, I would suggest that you put a little bit of WD-40 or some sort of penetrating oil on them and let it sit there for half an hour or so, and then go at it. They shouldn't be on there too tight anyway because they're going into plastic. So, or actually they're fastening down plastic, so you don't need all that much pressure. And then you can see here that you can move that around because that fastener is off there, and it gives you a little bit more room to play there. So I'm just hand unscrewing the inside one here, and that WD-40 certainly did help. Okay, take it off, and as you can see, it's a little corroded. I may actually put some rust proofing or rust remover on that, clean it up a bit, but looks pretty good at this point. It's actually salvageable. Next, we're going to take the top one off here. Okay, there we go. There's the other one. And at this point, your lamp or your assembly should be free to be moved off or pulled off of there. So we're going to do that next. And basically all you do is wiggle it out. Now don't worry about the wires, because the wires actually have a little bit of length to them so that they can be pulled out a bit before you remove the wires. And I'll show you what I mean here after I remove the assembly. I'll show you the connecting wires to the headlight and the turn signal. There we go. And it's just a clip that's holding it in there, so just give it a little bit of a wiggle and shimmy it out of there. Okay. It's going to require a little bit of finagling. There we go. There we go. And that's why you want to remove that fastener there, because it just makes life so much easier. Okay, at this point, I've got the light out as far as it's going to come out with the wires actually attached. So I'll show you how the wires connect to the actual lamp assembly and how to remove those next. All right, we've released the fasteners, and now we're looking at the corner of the driver's side lens, and you'll see the turn signal socket or connector right here, and there's a little tab right there which we have to squeeze and then pull the socket out in that direction. There's no need to turn it or anything, it's just squeeze it and pull. So I'm going to do that. There we go, and that's it. You just squeeze it and it unlocks and pulls off. So that's the turn signal. Next we're going to get to the lamp, and that's why I do the turn signal first, because it gives me more space to get my hand in to do the actual lamp socket. So we got the turn signal connector off or socket off, and now we're looking at the lamp connector or socket, which is right here in the back of the headlight assembly, and it basically just wiggles off. It's a friction fit. If yours doesn't wiggle off, that probably means it's corroded and somewhat jammed on there. And then just basically at that point, you're gonna have to wiggle it. Don't be too strenuous on it, as it's just connected to the back of the light bulb. So if you pull too hard on here, you'll break the light bulb. So be real gentle, wiggle it out and get it out. Mine will just basically pull off, so I'll show you that. A little bit of a wiggle and off it comes. And if yours is really hard to pull out, then it probably needs some lubrication and cleaning. And I'll show you what I use for that when we're reassembling it. So at this point now, you're holding onto the lamp because there's nothing holding the lamp to the car. So when you're pulling off that connector, make sure you're holding on the lamp. And now the whole assembly comes off. And here it is. Let's zoom it out here for you to see. Here it is in my hand. All right. So I'm going to do the same procedure on the passenger side. It's exactly the same on the passenger side. And so basically, I'm going to show you how to get the fasteners off and get the connectors off on that one. But it's pretty simple. Okay, passenger side, same procedure. Remove this fastener, these two bolts, this one here, and this one right down here. And then remove the connectors from the back of the headlight assembly and pull it off. Here we're looking down on the driver's side headlight assembly or lens, and this is the back end of it. And now I'm going to remove the actual headlight bulb itself, which is right here. Now prior to removing this rubber seal, which is the first thing that has to come off before the bulb, we can get into the bulb and get that off. You may want to remove, get a damp rag and actually wipe all the dirt or dust that may be on this. If you got compressed air, blow it off, because you don't want that dirt falling into the actual lens assembly. So first thing we're going to do here is remove this rubber cup, and there's a little tab here nicely supplied to pull it off. Also note that it says top on the very top of it, so you know how to put it back in. It does have to be put in a certain orientation with the top pointing to the top, so that any of these drain plugs can actually release moisture to the bottom. So I'm going to grab the tab here and just lift it, and then just move the lip up around the edges like so, and remove this rubber seal. So there it is, off it goes. You may want to put that underwater or in your sink and wash it off. It's up to you. Now we're looking at the actual headlight for the car. This is I'm using an H4 headlight. The actual headlight assembly here says HB2, and I believe that HB2, H4, and 9003 are the same socket configuration and the same kind of bulb, but it's up to you what you use. I'm using an H4 and it works just fine for me. I'll put the link for this bulb that I'm going to be using on this in the video description as well. So now we got to release the lock from the actual headlight bulb here. Now, one thing I want you to notice right off the bat here is that it actually is secured in certain places. You'll see the clip here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. See the clip here, it's on this channel that goes all the way around the bulb. So it's on the inside of that channel. So that's key to note, because when you're putting it back on, it has a tendency to want to rest on top of this surface here, and it won't lock down correctly if you do that. So make sure that when you put it back on, it goes into that channel, and I'll show you that when I'm putting it back in, number one. And number two, over here, this little corner where also sits inside the channel as well. Again, if it's not in the channel, it won't come off the actual bulb correctly, or won't go onto the won't lock down to the actual lock correctly either. So now what we're going to do is we're going to push down on this tab here, on this little piece of wire. We're going to push it down and unlock it from that brass hook. So I'm going to move that around there like that so you can see it, and I'm going to push down and forward. Okay, and that's it. Once you clear it, then just lift it right off like so, and now you have access to the actual bulb itself. One of the things on the bulb, I don't know, I mean, if you're taking it out, you can touch it, but when you're putting it back in, try not to touch the actual glass part of the bulb. If you touch the glass part of the bulb, you put some oil or grease or whatever's on your hands onto the bulb, you create a hot spot, and that hot spot will heat the bulb unevenly and cause it to crack. So if you happen to put any oil or grease, or just touch it with your hand, whatever, make sure that you use some, what I use is 91% isopropyl alcohol, which is isopropyl alcohol and 9% water, and just wipe it right off, and with a clean paper towel, and get it nice and grease free before you put it back in. Or when you get your new bulb, regardless, even if it's right out of the package, I would do that anyway. I would clean it with some 91% isopropyl all the way around, because you never know, so maybe somebody touched it in the factory, or maybe it's been touched, and just basically clean it all off till it's squeaky clean, and then put it back in, and be careful not to touch it with your fingers. So there's the bulb out of the actual assembly. Okay, next I'm going to put my replacement bulbs in here, and these are the Tyrol H4 12 volts, and they're 60/55 watt headlights, so they're regular and high beam headlight bulbs, and they're halogen super whites. They're 5000 K in color, though they look blue. They have a blue sort of coating on them. They do come out really nice and white when you're actually using them. So notice that I'm holding it by the edge of the actual metal here, not touching the bulb at all. So we're going to put it in, and the widest tab is at the top, and the two narrow tabs go at the bottom. So we're just going to put that in there carefully, trying not to hit anything, not to touch anything. So straight in like that, and you'll know when it fits right because it only fits in one way. Next, we got to put the lock down. And again, as I said earlier, the actual pieces of, the actual lock has to go into the channels as I showed you before. So I'm going to make sure that happens. So here you can see where it would rest if you just let it rest there. So I'm just going to push it in with my thumb into the channel, and then make sure on this side here that it goes, the corner of that piece of wire goes into the channel again. And then we're going to have to hook it underneath that brass hook there. So I'm just going to, it's hard to show you that, but I'm going to hook it down into that brass piece there like that. And I think my finger was in the way here, so I'll just do that again for you. Let's go and like that. And notice that the corner or the elbow of that piece of wire is right inside that channel, and so is this side inside the channel. I'll give you another view at that. And that's properly secured. Now at this point, all you need to do is put the rubber back on, the rubber cap, making sure that you put the top towards the top. And if you don't know where the top is, it actually is labeled on the actual, headlamp assembly. So I'm just going to press it down into its spot and make sure that it goes down around the bulb here. And you can see that it just seats nicely on the bulb itself, and creates a seal here around it. Now the next step that I would do, it's optional, but I think it's a good idea no matter what. I'm going to use some dielectric grease. This is the Permatex dielectric grease, and I bought this from Amazon. I'll put the link in the video description for this. And what it's used for is to lubricate these contacts. Number one, to stop any corrosion from happening, and to give you better contact on the mating surface of the socket, and therefore basically waterproofing or sealing the connection. In this case, as you can see, these connections are outside of the bulb, so they're actually exposed to the outside air. And, so you may want to protect them with some grease, and that'll keep it from corroding and from letting water get on there. So I'm going to use this dielectric grease, bulb grease, and I'm going to use a toothpick and just spread it on those pins. Okay, so I've thoroughly applied the dielectric grease on there. I use lots, and it doesn't hurt to use lots. Basically, it's going to help conduct electricity, number one. Number two, keep the corrosion down and keep the water out of that connection, which will make the bulb last longer and actually shine brighter. At this point, you're ready to take the whole assembly back to the car and install it inside the actual, or install it back in the car. Okay, prior to putting the headlamp assemblies back in, I put some dielectric grease on the contacts on every one of the connectors for the light. There's 3 on this one, and 3 on this one as well, the turn signal indicator and the headlight connector. Good idea to put grease on them. Number one, helps keep any kind of corrosion down, gives you better contact, and makes it easier to take the connector off when you need to replace them again. Prior to putting the headlight back in, I wanted to show you a few things. First of all, there's a clip here that holds the headlight right there, and basically just the headlight snaps into that. And there's a little hole here in the body where a stud on the actual headlamp itself, or headlamp assembly, goes into. So you're probably, just so you know, when you're putting it in, just make sure the stud goes into that hole and that you're going into this clip. And I'll show you the mating side on the actual headlight. Let's get out of the light here, sorry. You'll see there's the headlight, and you'll see that there's a little stud right here, and that little stud goes into this hole here. And on the back of the headlight, you'll see that there's a small channel. Sorry, can't see here. Right here, and that goes into where into this clip here. Okay, so just make sure that you get both of those into those areas, and you should be fine. Okay, putting the lamp assemblies back in is the exact reverse of taking them out, but you want to do it in a couple steps. First, you want to take the lamp and put the connectors into it. So the electrical connectors for the headlight first, and second for the turn signal, right? And you want to do this for both sides before you secure anything down, because you want to test them. You want to see if your new bulbs are going to work right, and whether your high beam, your turn signals actually work, and your also your parking or marker light works. So prior to putting it all back together, just fit the electrical connectors on both the lamps on both sides, and then test them out. And if they work out right, then you can go the rest of the way, push them in, and then you know, secure them down with the bolts. And that's what I'm going to do next. Put it all, you know, connect the other lamp and do that test, and then we're going to put the bolts back on, and then we'll be done. All right, quick note prior to testing your headlights for operation and your turn signals as well, you're going to have to put your negative battery terminal back on and secure it. So just take your 10mm and put it on there and tighten it up. So I'm going to put the rest of these sorry, I'm going to put the headlight assemblies back in now, just by fitting them back into their slots. There we go. Nice. Now I'm going to line the headlights to the marks I made with the Sharpie at the start, and just to get it as close to the perfect fit as it was before. But they pretty well just go into the right space anyway. But you know, that's why we made the marks with the Sharpie. So let's just use those. Finger tight the bolt or screw, sorry. And on these bolts, don't over tighten them, because you'll split this plastic. That's what I did. I over tightened it and I just broke it. Snug is good. And what's snug? Well, that's something you're going to have to figure out yourself, but don't go too tight on them. They don't need to be very tight. Just snug will do. Careful with this, with the bolts. You don't want to drop them into the engine compartment or into the bumper cowling. That's no fun. Okay, so I've got that finger tight. Now I'm going to tighten up the rest of the way with my ratchet. Like I said, they don't have to be super tight. Now, just do the exact same thing on the other side. Oh yeah, one more thing. Don't forget your little plastic fastener here at the top. Make sure you put that in. And we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side, basically. And that's how you change the headlight bulbs on a Hyundai Accent 2001. That's it for my video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video and it helped you out in some way, do me a favor, click on the like button right down here. And you know, if you wish to subscribe to my channel, just click on this link up here. And that should subscribe you to the Richard Lloyd channel, or Richard Lloyd USA channel. Okay, again, thank you very much for your time and watching.